I'm Tom Kenny, better known as the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants, and we are here at SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con.
Thank you so much for joining us. You're kind of a legend. We've all grown up with your voice, and I was wondering, like, what kind of fan feedback do you receive to that respect?
Thank you. Oh, at Comic-Con? Yeah. It's insane. I mean, it's like nowhere else because, you know, Comic-Con is such a gathering of people who are not just a little bit into stuff, they're a lot into stuff. And, you know, whatever that stuff may be, you know, there's something for everybody. And, you know, it's such a wide age range that, you know, anybody who's really interested in anything you've ever done in your career is in this room. So it's like insane because I've been doing this for a long time and I've been on a lot of shows and video games, you know, and stuff like that. And it seems like each one of those things, even the ones that are kind of obscure, like even like the obscure ones were somebody's biggest thing. That was my favorite show. And you're going, wow, I worked on it for an hour 10 years ago, really? You know, and they're like insane about that one thing, you know? And it's wacky. I mean, somebody was just saying that there's YouTube video of me getting chased around the streets of San Diego the other night. Like the Beatles, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was nuts, man. That doesn't happen in the real world. You know?
So SpongeBob has the biggest franchise that I've run across. You've got video games, you've got figurines, you've got comics. But if you, Tom Kenny, were to create your own SpongeBob video game, what would it be like?
Oh, man. You know, I don't think there's any idea for a video game that has gone unplumbed by SpongeBob. You know, I am not a gamer, but I have a kid. And, man, like the games that you know, they keep putting out on SpongeBob just get more and more sophisticated with more and more, you know, play and more stuff you can do, doors you can open. And like the world within the game just gets, you know, bigger and bigger with every game. And, you know, to see that happen, you know, is you just feel like you're living on a totally different earth than the one you were born into, you know. I turned 50 last year, so I'm just like, wow, you know, I feel like a visitor to, you know, Earth 2. It's pretty crazy. And the video games, you know, there's, you know, the difference between acting in a cartoon and acting in a video game really is just all those possibilities, right? Like with a episode, it's a beginning, a middle, and end. It's a story. You're going, okay, here's where the jokes are. I got to hit this a little harder, you know, maybe pull back a little from this, and you're, you know, the cast is usually all there at the same time recording SpongeBob, so you're goofing around and ad-libbing. And with the games, you're usually alone, and you have to cover all those possibilities. If somebody, you know, goes this way instead of that way, well, that's a whole different bunch of lines. And if somebody opens this door instead of that door, well, then that's a whole bunch of different lines. Or so it's, you know, just covering all those seemingly endless variables that a video game has. Makes them, you know, to me, even like a little bit harder to do than episodic TV, you know, because you're sort of, you're just checking stuff off the list, you know, while trying to make it seem like fun and fresh and interesting and not like you're sitting in a room by yourself and engage the player, you know. And I always picture my kids playing video games and try, you know, what would they like? So.
And do you prefer being with the cast or in the booth alone?
Definitely with the cast. It's always more fun to be there with, you know, your fellow actors. And like especially on SpongeBob, we've been doing these characters for long enough that you know their personalities and you can go off the script and goof around. And, you know, Patrick will come to you. Bill Fagerbakke will be right there with you every step of the way. It's Squidward, Roger Bumpus, and Plankton, Mr. Lawrence. So it's, you know, that's way more fun for me. That's way more like, you know, it's more like doing sketch comedy. You know, it's like being in a comedy sketch. You know, it's like fun. It's like being on SCTV or SNL or something.